US Bank has a way of making you feel unwanted, but we're still chasing their cards like it's a bad romance we just can't shake off. In today's video of my 5-part series, we're diving into the Altitude Go card to see if it's time to break free or if there's still a spark worth exploring. Let's get into it. So like I mentioned, today we're covering the US Bank Altitude Go. It has a 20,000 point sign-up bonus when you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. It has no annual fee, but it does have foreign transaction fees. You do get to redeem your points in the portal for travel, but it is only at 1 cent per point. There's no extra modifiers. There's no transfer partners to maximize those points. It's just 1 cent per point. And you also don't have a way of transferring those points to an Altitude Reserve to get 1.5x on those points. It's just 1 cent per point. So honestly, even though it does redeem for travel in the portal, it's basically a cash card. There's really no difference in redeeming for cash or redeeming in the travel portal. It's just 1 cent per point. It doesn't really matter how you get it. I don't even know why they market this as some sort of altitude travel card, but it is what it is. For the spending categories, you get 4x on dining, 2x on gas or EV charging, you get 2x on groceries, 2x on streaming services, and 1x on everything else. For standard benefits, on top of the 2x for streaming services, you also get a $15 credit back for any streaming purchases. So $15 doesn't really sound like a lot, but honestly, if you do the math, and you're getting 2x on streaming services plus $15, it basically equates to getting 3x on your normal streaming service spend. Because I mean, honestly, how much are you spending on streaming services? So if you spend, roughly $1,000 to $1,500 in streaming service, that extra 1x you would get on one card is about $15 difference than getting 2x on that card. So I mean, I see their play here and I think it's probably fine. So you can sort of equate this card streaming service modifier to any other 3x like the Sabre One or the Sapphire Preferred. Those both get 3x. The only difference is those cards can redeem their points for a lot more than 1 cent per point. At least they're trying to even that up for you, I guess. You also get real-time rewards with this card. I don't really see the point in it. It makes sense for the reserve that we covered yesterday, where you can, tap to pay and instantly get 1.5 cents per point back. But you're only getting 1 cent per point back on your real-time rewards. So whether you do it at the store while you're buying groceries or you do it at the end of the month and just get it all back at once with a credit, I don't really see the difference. Seems silly. For application rules, it's the same as yesterday with the reserve. It's subject to the 524 rule as well as the City 66. And again, these cards are ridiculously hard to get, in my opinion. We covered this in detail in the previous video, but basically open up a bank account, make sure you haven't had any new credit cards for the last year, make sure you maximize your credit score to the highest you possibly can, because all that's going to be a factor. They really don't want your business as far as I'm concerned, but if you can get it, great. The Altitude Go earns altitude rewards. Like I mentioned, it's just 1 cent per point. That's all you're going to get. It's no lower, no higher. For cash value, for gift cards, and for travel value, it's all 1 cent per point. It's basically just a cash card. I don't know why they make a big deal out of it, but there you go. And you cannot transfer your points to the Altitude Reserve, so you can get 1.5. Let's do some card comparisons. We're just going to start with the Altitude Go versus the card we reviewed yesterday, which is the Altitude Reserve. The Go has no annual fee, whereas the Reserve has a $400 annual fee. But like we learned yesterday, effectively, it's a $75 annual fee. And also the Go just earns straight 1 cent per point, so you're not really going to get anything extra like you do on the Reserve, where you can cash these in for 1.5 cents per point through the travel portal, or like real-time rewards on travel purchases with your digital wallet payments. So if we turn this off, obviously, if you don't use those travel redemption options, then you're just going to get 1 cent per point as well. There's no transfer partners or anything to maximize your points. So we'll turn this back on because we assume you're going to maximize your reserve as much as possible. So we're doing terribly against the reserve. But, you know, obviously we could use this as a team, which we'll cover in a minute, but really they don't work as a team. There kind of is no point to stay in the US bank system because they're basically just cash cards. So it doesn't really matter if you're using a cash card from a completely different bank with the reserve or if you're using the Go, because they can't combine their points to add more power to the points. So what's the point? So if you can get a better card than the Go for these 1 cent per point cash values, then there's really no reason. Not to mention, they make it super hard to get the cards. So what are we even doing? I'll go get a AAA card, much easier to get and better modifiers. Anyway, we'll keep going. So the only thing that it does better than the reserve is the streaming service, and that's it. So it's kind of like, if I'm gonna go for a US bank card, I'm gonna go for the reserve and not for the Go. Like even Forex Dining, which is its superpower, I'm getting better with the tap to pay over here on the reserve. It kind of makes it pointless. So we come down here to the first year, and first year for the Go, 1651 versus almost 4,000 for the reserve. And then for the second year, 14, it's over double. It's over double that for the reserve. The Go card, I don't really see the point in it, honestly. But we'll come back up. Since the only really big category in the Go is dining, we'll switch over here and compare 3 cards together that are all good in dining. We've got the American Express Gold, the Go, and then the Saver One. So the American Express obviously has a $325 annual fee versus the Go and the Saver One, no annual fees for those. We've already gone over the modifiers for these, so we'll just skip down. But I mean, you can see that the Gold in and of itself is beating it. And then for the weird, you know, off the wall categories, the Saver One. And basically the only good thing about the card is that it ties on EV charging and gas stations. When you factor the Gold's 2 cent per point for transfer partners, since it can transfer its points to transfer partners, it's getting much more value for the points. Now, if you come over here to the My Profile section, I talked about this in the last video yesterday, but if you have transfer partners turned on, then we're going to assume you're going to try to transfer your points over to transfer partners to maximize your point value, which you can do for the Gold, but you can't do for the Go. And you can't do it for the Saver One either, but it has the ability of moving its points over with the Venture X and then doing it that way. But if you don't have the Venture X, that's not possible. So we'll come back. And we'll just assume for this comparison's sake, it's just these cards, and this is the only card you have. You don't have the ability to transfer away for the Saver One. If you scroll down to the calculations, you'll see that for the first year, I mean, you're almost at $5,000 for the Gold. That's, by the way, that's insane that the Gold card you can get on your first year, $5,000. And by the way, this is based on my spending that I have put in my annual spending section. I put all that spending here. You can go put your own spending there to figure out if it works for you the same way, if it does better. But I seriously doubt that you're going to do better with the Go than you are in the Gold. But we'll come back down here. Even the Saver One does better than the Go on the first year. And if we come down to the second year where you don't have the sign-up bonus that the Gold obviously does well on, it's still killing it. So you've got the Gold. It just makes the Go seem stupid. And even the Saver One, which is a no annual fee card, does way better than the Go. And then on top of that, this is just 1 cent per point. If you add the Venture X with the Saver One, you're gonna take those points and maximize those 1.8 cents per point when you move those over to the Venture X. So honestly, the Go is stupid. Don't do it. Why get this card? It's dumb. Not to mention, they don't even want you to have the card. They make it impossible for you to get. But hey, maybe you're not into transferring your points to transfer partners, so I will turn that off and just say, yeah, we're just doing portal redemptions. So that's gonna level up the playing field a little bit, right? So we'll come down here to the view calculations. Now it's still 2,300 for the first year on the Gold. 18 for the Saber 1 didn't change much. 16 for the Go didn't change much, if at all. And then still in the gold, 1700 versus 1600 versus 1400. The Go is still last. It's not a great card. Not really much else to say about the Go. I don't think it's a good card to have. They don't want you to have it anyway because they make it so tough to get. So don't get it. Get something else. Get the Saber 1. Get the gold card. It's better. But hey, those are just my thoughts. If you disagree, or even if you agree, I don't care. Put something in the comments below. Do you have the card? Do you regret having the card? Do you still want the card? Let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and sign up for the website. It's completely free. And we'll see you tomorrow in the next video.